Hi friends, this is Andrea and today I'm here on Scrap Academy with a new video and with a recipe challenge. The ingredients for this recipe are 1 sheet of cardstock. We're going to be using white cardstock for our project. We have 2 photos, 3 different pattern papers and 4 different textures. So you can see I'm showing you my photos. Now the pattern papers, here is where I feel that I somehow tricked the system a little bit. So I'm going to tell you about that. You see that I have 2 regular double-sided pieces of pattern paper, and then the third piece is the cover or the first page from the collection that I'm using. I'm using the collection Norte from Lora by Lora. So her cover for the pattern papers is what I'm counting as a third pattern paper. Now I'm showing you right now that I'm gonna be adding fabric to my layout. I didn't have an orange color, so it's gonna be a yellow mustard color pumpkin. Now this is for one of the textures. We're gonna use a cut file that it's gonna have some machine stitching on it. That's gonna also add another texture, and what I added to my cardstock was some gesso to prepare the page for some mixed media that we're doing right after this. So I'm starting with the cut file, and as I said, you can see the machine stitching on the edges, and this is for different reasons. The main reason being, yes, I needed to keep adding textures to this project, but also to make sure that because this is fabric that we're working with, I wanted to make sure that I was not gonna run into the fabric moving around or the cut file not sticking properly to the fabric. Okay, we're almost done cutting around the edges and we have a perfect pumpkin. The feeling when you touch this fabric is really, really nice. By the way, the cut file I'm using is from Paige Evans. So now I'm using a stencil with some texture paste, and this stencil is also from Paige. And in the beginning, I had the idea of leaving the background completely white. That will end up changing, and we're gonna play it as well with some Lindy's powders to add some color to it. Recommendation here, please wait, or it is better if you wait before you complete those empty spaces with more texture paste, just to make sure that you don't make any messes. And here is the answer to why I went with double-sided pattern papers and with the cover of the collection as another pattern paper. So I knew this cut file has lots of leaves, it has flowers, but so I do feel that I followed the recipe, but in my own way. Here you see I get, on the same pattern paper, I get 2 different tones of greens that I will be using to make the leaves look different one from the other. You don't have, and this is important, you don't have the recipes, or the way I feel about recipes is, yes, follow them. They will guide you, they will give you a great start point to create what you want to create. But if you feel that you need to modify it, that you need to make some changes, that also works. So one important thing about scrapbooking or scrap in general is I feel that there are no rules, and don't feel that a recipe is just, this is what I have to do. These are the ingredients I got. That's it. I feel that yes, up to a certain point, yes, it is what's going to help you. It's going to help us get more creative. And I think this is what I got here. I got to the point where I said, okay, I do feel that I want to add as much color as I want, or as much color as possible, to back this cut file. How can I get to that? What can I do to get to that while still following the rules, right? Or while still following this recipe. This was my original idea, to just leave it, white background. But then I said, I feel that it's missing something. It's missing some color, and I don't want the texture that I added to get lost. So I decided to go for some orange, and the end result was a bit different from what I had originally planned, but I did like what happened here, or the way it turned out. And I ended up covering only the parts with the texture paste. You will see me playing around. Do not worry about that mess that we're creating. Remember that we are playing with a big cut file, that will end up covering that mess in the middle. And here, because it did not, the good thing, and I think we've been saying, we try to say this as much as possible, when you're playing with mixed media, it is stressful, it is scary when you feel that feeling of, I do not know what I'm doing. So the main thing for me here was, remember you prepped your page with the gesso. So at this point, I knew that I could add as much water, almost as much water as I needed and as I wanted, to get the color that I wanted. So it was not working in the very beginning, and thank God we had the gesso. So what I did was keep adding water until I got the color I liked, and the color that I felt went well with the rest of the project. And you see, the mess in the middle is covered. So as of now, we have that texture paste, we have the mixed media, we have our cut file with the fabric and the stitching. So I think that should cover our 4 textures. I am also gonna add I'm gonna use some metal dies to add some leaves on coming out from the pumpkin, finding a way to or the perfect location for my 2 photos. And I'm going to cut those shapes with white cardstock. It's gonna be the same white cardstock that I used. No, sorry, this one is smooth cardstock. So the one that I'm using, the white piece that I'm using for the background, is textured cardstock, and this one is smooth cardstock. And that could also count as a texture. If you for some reason feel that you're missing some already with everything that we've done, you can have that. And there will be some changes happening here. I see that this is not exactly how the project ends. So we are gonna get rid of that small cluster on the left side. In the end, I decided that the cut files and the flowers with the pumpkin were enough and that I did not need another cluster or focal point, that I wanted everyone to go straight to the photos, and after that start discovering all the rest of the textures. So got rid of the bow. I love those marigold bows, but really the reason why I got rid of the bow is because I noticed that I was missing a title. There was no heading, no title, no words on this layout, and somehow I wanted that. I needed that. And in the end of camera, I also used some of the Nubo drops to add some white details on top. And you can see this close-up is just to show you the texture that this fabric adds. And that's it. Again, we just finished and we worked on a recipe. I think, to be honest, this is my very first time following a recipe challenge or playing along with the recipe challenge. So I guess the pattern paper thing maybe it comes with practice, to just limit yourself to what you've been instructed or given. But in this case, I felt that I wanted to go a little bit crazy. So I hope this video inspires you to get creative, to understand that you can still be free to make whatever you want, and that these recipes, or at least the way I understand them, is they are the starting point. They just help you gather a limited amount of materials or tools, or put together your ideas based on that and work and get creative from that point. Please let me know if you have any questions. Make sure all those are in the comments below. I hope you have a wonderful day. This was Andrea for Scrap Academy. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.